loose here.
I've got a box of granola bars in there, the breakfast type things, if you want to take them.
I might actually, that sounds great. On Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I have class straight from 10 to 2, and I keep forgetting to grab food before I leave my house. So I need more like to-go stuff, because by the time 2 o'clock hits, I'm starving, you know?
Mm-hmm. You get that food free. Also,
Well, I want to tell you about the Clipper cards for San Francisco, because I've done some research.
Mm-hmm.
They say if I buy you Clipper cards, I can get them in 10 days, but I don't trust them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this will work okay, maybe even better, but it puts some of the responsibility on you guys. I will just give you cash for Clipper cards, and there are, according to stuff I've seen online, there are vending machines in all of the airport terminals. Down on level 1, the arrival levels.
Yeah.
So probably when you arrive in San Francisco, that's what you do. You do it there and you get it out of the way.
Cool, yeah. And then Carol's picking us up.
She is?
She said she is going to have a hard time dropping us off on the 12th,
I read
but
that.
she can pick us up.
Yeah, I read that email. So she can, and you're getting in noonish? Yeah.
But we're probably going to spend some of the day just relaxing because we leave at 7 something Dayton time, and in order to do that, we're gonna just drive from Muncie straight to the airport.
Okay.
So we're gonna
like
not
2
know how to
hours.
sleep that night.
Yeah. And then you'll be jet lagged.
Right. But there's a show, one of my favorite plays, which I've never seen performed, it's called Another. It's a really messed up play, but I really like it. We found out there's a theater in San Francisco that the last night it's playing is the first night we're there. So we're going to spend the day just kind of chilling out and then go into the city at night and see the show. Which I'm super excited
Well,
about.
all the more reason to get the Clipper cards out of the way first thing. So, you do need Clipper cards because if you pay full fares, well, the Clipper card rate is a discount compared to full fares. Plus, there's the convenience of just getting on a bus or BART and swiping your card. You know. So, I will give you money. What I suggest you do is buy like put like $50 on each card.
Do you pay by day or pay by like trip?
You pay by money.
Okay.
You just put money on the. There's several ways to pay.
Okay.
But the way you would pay is just put money on it.
Okay.
And every time you tag your card, there's a little reader there that tells you how much is left. So, you know, ideally what you want is to end the trip with 0 on your cards because you'll never get that money back, you know. So you start out with about $50 and then see how it goes, and I will give you enough. I haven't done it yet, but I'll estimate like how many trips you guys are going to make and maybe even overestimate. And then as you see it's getting low, you can use the vending machines. You put in your card, you put in some money.
Just put some more money on it.
And it tells you how much is left on your card when you swipe.
Right, that's what I do.
Cool.
And so you guys monitor it, and hopefully you'll have a little bit of money left over at the end, and you can use that for the trip. So that's what I'll do.
Awesome. That's awesome. Thank you. We're getting excited. Since we bought Miranda's ticket yesterday, we're like, it feels real, you know?
Yeah. Well, it is real. You've already got your tickets. So I would love to be a fly on the wall when you guys meet Carol or ride with Carol, because she's going to have her granddaughter with her. And you met her granddaughter. This is.
I met her when she was a baby, though.
This is Kirsten and Michael David's kids, and they're black. So Janisha is black, and Hallie is black, and I would just love to.
Carol doesn't know this.
Carol doesn't know, and you know it. But
it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
But Janisha is the one, the older one, who Carol says still has some problems, kind of mixing with whites. I mean, she's okay. Her parents are white, you know, But if there's a mixed gathering, Janisha tends to gravitate towards the blacks. Whereas the
How
little...
old is she?
She's 11 or 12.
Okay,
like
Hallie's so good with kids too.
Whereas the little one, Sakori, who's about 8.
Yeah.
Something
I think
like that.
Sakori's who I met when she was like a baby.
I think so too, because Kirsten Michael David adopted Sakori first, and then kind of learned about her sister. And you know, the girls were split up, and I don't think they have the same fathers, and it's a mess. But they became persuaded to adopt the older one. So the older one, probably just because she is older and lived in this dysfunctional thing longer, she's got more issues than Sakori. So Sakori apparently is very comfortable with blacks, whites, makes no difference at all to her. But Janisha is a little bit more reserved about it. So I would just love to be a fly on the wall and just see the dynamic.
Yeah.
I think
So
it's going to be good for Janisha to see Hallie just interact with anybody.
Is it just going to be Janisha, or is Sakori going to be there too?
I think it's just going to be Janisha.
She just takes them one at a time.
Okay.
So it's special for each one.
Oh, is that what she does? Yeah, she takes them like once a month and they
Okay.
have a night with her or something. Yeah, so I think that's going to be fun.
Yeah. We're starting to plan some stuff. There's going to be a day, I think Monday, Miranda and I are going to go into the city on our own because Hallie has a possible internship in Sacramento, and she is going to go to Sacramento for the day and interview with this place and then come back. So she's going to be back in the evening, so we're going to like meet up in the city and have dinner. But Miranda and I are going to spend the day together, which I'm actually very excited about. Hallie really wants us to just go to Sacramento with her, but I was kind of like, I would love to just have a day to spend with Miranda in the city.
Does
How's
she?
Hallie going to get to Sacramento? Take a bus?
Yeah, she's mapped out the bus route. She said it's only going to cost her like $10. Bus
There's
fare.
a really cheap bus that goes up there.
Yeah.
Then it takes.
Yeah, there's no train or anything that goes, is there?
She said there was a train, but it was going to cost more.
There was a train.
You have to take a bus to Oakland and then a train up to Sacramento. But there's like a commuter bus that costs $1.
Yeah.
When Linda's taking.
Well,
something
she'll figure it out, and she's very self-reliant. So.
Yeah, she's already like mapped it and priced it and everything, so she should be fine.
She seems like she's had to kind of take control of her own life for quite a while.
Yeah. She's a weird balance of self-reliant and incredibly dependent. She wasn't home she stays at my house. Like, she lives at my house, and she has her own house, and she needs to not live at my house. And we had a conversation this morning because Hallie wasn't home, where we were like, we need to talk to her, because we learned recently that her roommates think she's living with us.
So where's she paying rent?
Apparently she's not. Apparently it's super recent, so she like has been paying rent, but like she's not. And like, and we were talking about it, we were like, it's so tough because we need to have this conversation because our house is not big enough for 4 people, for one.
Yeah.
And you can't live somewhere for free. You just can't do that.
Are you feeling like you're being taken advantage of?
We're starting to. We're really starting to. And it's so hard because she has never had a real family, so it's so easy to understand why she gets so dependent and so like clingy, and you don't want to shut that down completely because she's been abandoned enough in her life, but at the same time you can't live somewhere for free.
Yeah.
You know, you can't take advantage of us like that.
Yeah.
Well, reasonable conversation is say, you spend a lot of time here now, and so we think you should.
Well, but you.
Does she buy groceries?
We decided the conversation is not you need to pitch in because our house is not big enough for 4 people.
Oh.
Like, we're all feeling very claustrophobic.
How was Richie doing with it?
We're all our house is big enough for 3 of us,
Uh-huh.
not 4 of us. And especially because Hallie's sleeping on the couch every night, it's like we don't even really have our living room anymore. A lot of her stuff is in my room. It's when someone's sleeping on your couch. When you have roommates, you can be in the house together and not interact at all and be fine with it. When someone's sleeping on your couch, it feels more like a friend is over and like you have to entertain them when they're there. And it's getting a little bit exhausting, you know? So like the three of us were home this morning and it was like, oh, it was like relief almost for only the three of us to be there. I mean, we don't cook a whole lot.
She does clean, right?
She cleans.
So that's nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, if the basic issue is the house isn't big enough.
Yeah. Well, and pitching in on groceries is like we don't pitch in on groceries. We all just buy our own stuff. So if she brings her own stuff into the house and makes it, we're not going to complain. But we don't really. We kind of take turns buying toilet paper, I guess, is the only, and like Harrison's food. That's about it.
Does Hallie have a car yet? She was going to get one.
Her aunt is giving her one, but they're like in the middle of a move, so it's like after they
So
move.
this is a problem too, because she can't get back and forth. If she comes over, she's kind of stuck unless one of you take her back.
Well, and Richie had a conversation with her recently that was basically like, you need to not use our utilities, and you need to not be here when nobody's here, because she was staying home alone and like watching TV and stuff, and like that's our electric bill, you know?
Yeah.
So since she doesn't want to stay home alone, or she can't stay at our house alone anymore, what she's been doing is when I get up in the morning and go to campus, she comes with me to campus, and she'll just like hang out at the library while I'm in class and get homework done and stuff, you know, she's doing stuff. But then she'll come back with me when I come home from campus, and then I'll go back on campus for a rehearsal at night, and she'll come on campus with me and stay until I'm done with rehearsal. So it's like, not only is she basically living with me, I love Hallie. It's not a matter of I love her or I don't love her. Because, like, it's not personal. It's just, I need my own space, and I need to not, she needs to not live at our house if she's not living at our house.
Do you have anything in your lease agreement that
Oh, probably.
says you can't have more people?
Oh, yeah. I mean, she can't live there.
Yeah. So
Yeah, and it's kind of a gray area because she's not really living there. I mean, sleeping on the couch is different than having your own bedroom.
And that's what we talk about is as soon as we start asking her for money for utilities, then all of a sudden, like, legally that starts to look like she's living there. I mean, we're college kids. Like, people crash on couches all the time. Our landlords can't really say anything for
generally not daily.
Right.
Or nightly.
Right.
Well, at this point, you haven't said anything to her. You're just between the...
We've had conversations with her. I just don't think she gets it. We've like, hinted at it enough that we hoped that she would, like, take the hint. You know, like Richie's conversation about don't use our utilities, because she was, like, doing laundry at our house and stuff, and we were like, you can't do that. Like, don't take showers at our house. Don't do laundry at our house. Don't use our don't watch TV when nobody's home. Just don't run up our utility bills. And you need to go home more. You need to go home to do that stuff. Which translated to just her coming on campus with me every day instead of her actually
What does she do about a shower then?
We talked, we were like, well, I don't know how much Hallie actually showers.
Oh.
And the thing is, like, I get, like, her roommates are really awful to her, and they have a lot of animals, and they refuse to turn their heat on. And, like, there's things, like, I understand why she doesn't want to be at our house.
Yeah.
However, if she had come to us 2 months ago and been like, here's the issue, I need to figure something out, then we could have helped her through it. But now what we're finding out is that basically she owed her roommate money for utilities. And her roommate couldn't get a hold of her. So her roommate messaged me on Facebook and said, hey, I know that Hallie probably doesn't even want to talk to me, but she owes me this money. Tell her that after she gives me this money, she never even has to talk to me again. I understand.
Oh, jeez.
So, like, from this message, we kind of figured out that Hallie's roommates think that she's living with us. You know? And, like, that's just not cool. Like, if Hallie come to us and said, I need to stay with you guys for a little while until I find somewhere else to live, okay, we can help you. But when we find out that you've just been taking advantage of us being nice to you, that's not cool.
And reading between the lines, she hasn't been paying rent at the other place.
I don't think so.
She's not paying you guys anything, so she's floating.
Yeah.
And she's really taken advantage of both ends.
And we love Hallie. Like, we love Hallie being around. Like, I really wouldn't mind if she stayed at our house 3 days a week. But every day is just, it's too much. And this is such a small thing, but like, those are my couches, and they're like, the big couch with the bed in it is just getting worn way more quickly than it should, because someone's sleeping on it every day. And I mean, they're old couch. They're not new. They're not like super nice. But you sit down on that couch and it crunches. Like, that shouldn't be happening. Those couches were not in terrible condition when I got them.
Right.
And we are bound.
Using a couch as a bed is no doubt.
We're bound to put more wear and tear on it than Dad, because he was one person living there. It was just me and him, and we've got friends over all the time, so people sit on the couch more often. So it's bound to wear down more quickly. But someone sleeping on it every night does too.
Oh, that's really hard on it. That's much harder than a person sitting on it.
Yeah. I mean, legitimately, I sat down the other day on like the middle cushion of the couch, and it like crunched, and I was like,
did you put that support under?
Yeah, the cushions are so crappy that, well, the issue with that couch is that when Miranda's sisters come and visit, they pull out that couch to use as a bed, and those things get taken out and put in the closet, and I don't realize that they don't get put back in. So they're more on the small couch. I don't think they're on the chair, but they're on the love seat. And then I actually don't know if they're on the couch right now, because Miranda's sisters visited recently, so I'm not sure. I'd have to check.
Because you're not all that sturdy.
Yeah.
To have somebody sleeping on it all the time.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So, and Miranda's point was, if we don't have this conversation with her now, this is going to be our apartment next year too. You know, if we don't have this conversation, then she's going to feel like she can live. And our apartment is small. Our apartment is really small. Like, we're going to have less space than we do now, even when it's just the three of us there. Like, when it's just Miranda and I there at the apartment, like, we're going to have less personal space.
Yeah.
And I don't like coming back. My house just feels full.
It seems like you're going to have to be pretty direct.
I told them, because Hallie is definitely closer to me right now than she is to the two of them. And I said, I think all three of us sitting down with her is going to feel attacky. And I said, what is probably going to be, Miranda was like, yeah, but if just Richie and I sit down, like, all she's going to do is go, like, and bitch to you afterward. And I said, you know, honestly, that might be okay, because if you guys talk to her and she gets pissed at you, and then she comes to me to try to bitch about it, and I'm like, you know, Hallie, they're kind of right. She might take it a little differently. It might be her coming up to somebody who she thinks is a little more objective, and then being like, you know, think about it. And I think that it might go a little better.
I don't think I'd say they may be right. I don't think I'd say.
Well, yeah, I don't know what she's even going to say.
I feel that way too.
Yeah, no, I can't. I don't even know how to approach that, because I have no idea what she's even going to say.
There's probably different ways to do it. I would agree, though, that all three of you saying, hey, Hallie, sit down, we need to talk, would be like, oh, you guys are really ganging up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I just, like, I can easily see Hallie going either way. I can see her feeling really attacked and being really mad at us, or I can see her totally understanding. And I don't know which way it's going to go. And I love Hallie. Like, I love having her around. I don't want her to be mad at us.
Well,
I don't
maybe
want her...
because you love Hallie and she's closer to you than the other two, maybe you should just do it.
That's the thing, is Miranda and Richie have separately tried to have this conversation and realized that it's not just a, hey, one person needs to talk to her thing. It's like, we probably all need to talk to her somehow. But
I don't know.
There's
different ways to do it.
It just kind of depends.
Do you
It's one of
think
those things where
she
whoever's...
realizes that she's kind of taking advantage of you guys?
Yeah, I think she's probably
Or
just
she
waiting for us to say
going
something.
with the flow? Huh?
I think she's probably just waiting for us to say something.
Well, she probably is, because probably she had a lot of that in her life.
Mm-hmm. I think she thinks as long as we're not complaining, it's not an issue. Like last night I wasn't home for a lot of the night, and I left and I was like, Hallie, do you want me to like take you somewhere? Like, is there another party you wanted to go to, or any? Because we just like left somewhere. She was like, I think I'm just gonna stay here. Miranda was home, so it wasn't like she was home alone. She was like, I think I'm just gonna stay here. Like, is that all right? I was like, I mean, that's that's fine. Like, if that's what you want to do. But so, like, there's moments like that where she just, like, puts us in a weird situation of, like,
Yeah.
this isn't the time to have this conversation, but you're putting me in that place, you know?
I used to be the Mrs. Nice person
Yeah.
all the time. If somebody called and wanted something done, I always said yes. And we had some friends who had a mentally challenged son.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to the point where I felt like I was babysitting him more than she did.
Mm-hmm.
And I understood because I knew how difficult it was to just take care of him all the time. So I was doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I bitched to Grandpa about it. And finally he said to me one day, well, if you act like a carpet, you get treated like one. And
I mean, that's not what I'm doing, though. Like, it's just gotten to the point of, like, okay, we're being taken advantage of in the last, like, few days. And that's when, well, I mean, like, we've realized it in the last few days, I think is what's happened. And so the last couple days have been a conversation of, like, what's the best way to approach this? And, like, me and Miranda and Richie trying to figure out, like, how do we approach this?
I guess the question is, how would you like to see it work? You don't mind having her over, or even crashing on the couch once in a while?
Yeah. I don't mind, like, on the weekends when we all go out together, if she just comes home with us, like, that doesn't bother me. It's more just, like, weekdays, like...
But she's got this problem with her own roommates.
So she has no place to go.
Well,
I told Miranda, because I think...
But she also isn't trying very hard to make that work, whatever it is, because...
she's been trying all semester to make that work. They've said some really terrible things to her.
She's just getting out, you know?
I mean, she has to. Like, they have said some very, very terrible things to her. It is not a healthy place for her to be.
And why?
Because I think that they're all... She lives with a bunch of sorority girls. Their parents all pay for everything. I just don't think... Hallie has, like, very severe anxiety, and there's a lot of animals in the house. And there are a couple times that Hallie was like, hey, would you guys mind, like, putting the animals up for a little bit? Like, just putting them in your room or something for a little bit. And she walked in on a conversation where her roommate was calling her crazy and saying, like, I can't live with somebody who's crazy anymore. And, like, that's just not cool. You know? That's just not okay.
Are her roommates all black?
No.
No?
You guys have a weird thought about race.
No, I just wondered where she was coming from. Oh.
Dad does this too. I'm just confused. He was like, I didn't even think about the fact that Hallie was black, which to me it's like, why is that a thing that would have been thought of? Who cares?
Never lived in the South. Have you?
Well, we're from a different generation where there was a lot of I don't know, hatred, and there still is.
Yeah.
If you go to the South.
Well, I would like to think we're not bigoted, but we do see it, and you don't, or much less. So there will come a time, I hope, when nobody sees it, but we still see it.
I mean, but like seeing and acknowledging color is different than like making assumptions based on it. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like just because she's black doesn't mean she lives with all black people.
I thought maybe she was in a situation where she is with
no,
white
but
people
just
and they had their feelings about race.
Just because she's black could explain why she doesn't get along with white people, or they don't get along.
She grew up as the only black girl in her school.
Yeah, but hey, there's still a lot of people in this world who see skin color so vividly. That's all they can see.
That's what they see first.
And I think the assumption Grandma was making was maybe these people that she's living with are bigots. They don't like her because of that.
I don't think so. I mean, because they used to get along. Like, she moved in with them. She didn't move in with them because they hated her, you know?
Yeah, you wouldn't think so.
They used to be fine. It just, there was one girl in the house that she was really good friends with, and then everybody else she just kind of got along with, and then stuff got a little bit messy with the other people in the house, but she still had, like, one good friend in her house, so it was fine. And then I don't know what happened between them. I think what Miranda and I talked about is what the conversation needs to start as is, what is going on with your roommates?
Mm-hmm.
What do your roommates think you are doing? You know?
Yeah, because if something is going to work where she stays less at your place, that's kind of got to mean that she stays more at her place.
Yeah. Yeah, or she finds somewhere else to crash. But I don't know that I would, I mean, anybody that we know, I don't know that I would let that happen. You know? If it was for a little while, but...
Maybe a way to approach it with the semester coming to an end, or the quarter, is, you know, the quarter's coming to an end, where are you planning to live next quarter?
We don't have quarters. It would be
Well,
next semester, which would be
Oh,
August.
semester? Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were on quarters.
Mm-mm. We do.
Oh, so that gets you.
semester.
What's she going to do for the summer? Is she staying in Muncie?
She's trying to have an internship. She's applied to internships.
Oh, so the Sacramento thing might be this summer.
Yeah.
Well, that takes care of the situation for the summer. But then what about
When she comes back in the fall.
next year?
She's looking at houses. I mean, there's
So
a couple.
she's not going to
there's a-
stay with these others.
Oh no, there's a couple people that have, that she's talking to about living with. She's just got to figure out which is the best situation.
So even if the situation with you guys continues to be kind of uncomfortable, it's got an end point. It's got.
Well,
a
yeah, but I
end
mean,
point.
it doesn't, because if we don't have this conversation, then she's still going to stay with Miranda and I all the time. Because it didn't start out as, I hate my roommates, I'm not going to go home, you know? I mean, she stayed with us a lot even when
But
she
what
was
I'm
getting along
saying
with
is
her roommates.
it likely won't carry over in the next year.
It absolutely will. There's no reason why it wouldn't. I don't know why it wouldn't.
I thought she
Because,
said she was
well,
looking for other
the
places.
reason why it wouldn't is because you guys have an even smaller space.
Well, yeah, but even if she is living somewhere, as she has proven with the entire last semester, she will still crash on our couch. Even when she was paying bills and
Well,
paying rent at her house,
that,
she was
yeah, I
living
think
in
the
our
fact
house.
that you're going to be in a much smaller space gives you the perfect opportunity to say you can't.
Well, yeah, but if we have this conversation now, then that doesn't even need to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Well, I suggest you wait and have the conversation after the trip.
No, we're gonna have it soon. She'll get over it. She'll be fine. She's not gonna like hate us forever. She's not the kind of person who's just gonna like hold a grudge. And if this conversation doesn't get had now, it's gonna get, we're all gonna get bitter with each other, and that shouldn't happen.
I feel like we're back to the Richie.
It's not though. Like, it's not the same thing. It's not the same thing at all.
How you
Well-
doing with Richie now?
She's fine. We're fine.
You had the conversation and she's fine.
Yeah, we live together. It's fine.
So changing the subject, you're still a Bernie fan?
Mm-hmm.
Did you watch any of the debates?
I haven't really been able to now. Free time has not been a thing that exists ever in my life.
Yeah.
I want to. I've read a lot of like news articles and stuff online, but I haven't gotten a chance.
Well,
to watch
he's
it.
doing real well. He kicked Hillary's butt in New Hampshire, you know, big time.
I saw that.
When we watch the debates, my big concern is when they want to talk about foreign policy, the only thing he can say is, you voted for the Iraq War and I didn't, and that he was on the Foreign Relations Committee for a number of years. But he doesn't ever talk about the world view and how we're going to get out of the mess that we're in over there, and those kinds of things.
Yeah.
It's really a weak point for him. I mean,
Yeah.
he tries to cover it over, but I think it's very apparent. Look at his background. Foreign policy is not something that he's really been very interested in over the years. He's a one-trick pony, which is economic and wealth inequality, and he's been talking about that consistently all of his political career. A little bit of civil rights thrown in, but mostly it's been that, you know.
And he has voted against gun control several times.
Yeah.
The thing that bothered me recently is that he was asked about how he was going to accomplish all these things that he says he wants to do. I mean, you know, he's going to work. They're still going to have a predominantly Republican Congress to work with. So his ideas might be great, but can they be implemented? And he said, "Oh no, I'm not going to do these things. I'm going to get millions of people to rise up and force the Congress to do these things." But you know what's going to happen after the election if he's elected? There's so many people that are supporting him. They're not going to be there. That's just the way our society is. They're not going to rise up and go demonstrate against the Congress or something.
Yeah.
Well, the realities, yeah. But I love Bernie.
I'd like to mesh the two of them.
I would, if we could make Bernie a benevolent dictator for 2 terms, I'd go for it.
Yeah.
You know, if he could have actually just total control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I was thinking about his free tuition for everyone, which is a great idea, and you know, it's what they do in Europe, a lot of the progressive European countries. But when you think about it, higher education is not a federal thing. I don't think there are any federal colleges other than the U.S. Naval Academy and West Point and the Air Force College in Colorado or whatever. So
they all get federal funding, though.
They get federal funding, but that's not all they do. So how would he really pull that off? How could he? Would the feds reimburse the colleges? I mean, would the federal funding then go to 100%?
The financial aid that Emily gets pays for 100% of what you need, right?
Some of it is state and some of it is federal, though.
Right. Right. So what is Bernie talking about? Is he talking about taking the federal subsidies of students and or colleges, either one, it comes out the same, and running those to 100%? I mean, it just occurred to me that you can't wave a wand at the federal level to make tuition-free colleges because the states are so involved.
It's funny, I saw a side by side the other day of Bernie and one of the Republican, I can't remember what Republican candidate it was, but it was their stance and people's reaction. So it was a picture of Bernie, and above it said free education, and below it was who's gonna pay for that? We don't want to raise our taxes. That's gonna blah, 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 blah. And then above the other guy just said war. Yeah, that seems fine.
Yeah. It's never who's going to pay for that.
Yeah.
Oh, the oil was going to pay for the Iraq War.
My friend posted on Facebook today something along the lines of, I wonder how many scientific advances we would have made in the past if so much money had gone, if that money had gone to science instead of war.
Boy,
or if a portion of it had gone to science, and something along those lines.
That has gone through my mind many times.
Well, yeah, it's not that clear cut because war has done a lot for science, actually. A lot of things get done as part of war efforts that do benefit society in general. But it's not the most pleasing way to do it. You'd rather.
What, for instance?
I mean, during the World Wars, when everything cut back and plastic
aviation
became
got
a thing.
tremendously developed by both World War I and World War II. Huge advances, you know.
Wasn't plastic invented because of one of the World Wars, because of rations, and it was a cheaper material?
Maybe
something along those lines.
Maybe not directly. There was a huge shortage of rubber in World War II for tires for military vehicles, and I think that spurred a lot of synthetics development. I don't know, plastics specifically.
Right.
Synthetics.
I think, yeah, that's it.
Um,
Is there any coffee in the pot?
no, but we could
There's
make
no
some.
pot.
You want to make some?
Sure.
So aviation, well, actually, although you don't like the immediate result of it, the whole Manhattan Project, the development of the atomic bomb, was hugely important in scientific discoveries about, the makeup of matter and atoms and stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure.
War has spurred a lot of scientific activity. Well, hey, here's another one. We saw that movie on Alan Turing, Norma.
Yeah.
So the code breaking in
Yeah.
World War II led to the early development of digital computers.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
But these things can happen without all these people being killed.
Well, they can, and I think it would be more pleasing if the government would put the money directly into science.
Right.
Yeah.
But war gives the motivation and makes the funding a lot easier, So instead of saying, gee, the government ought to give people all this money to develop digital computers, it's like, we need this for the war effort.
Yeah. What's for dinner?
I think I ran it by you. Crab ravioli.
Oh yeah, you did, and it sounds really good. I'm sad that I forgot about that because I was excited.
I didn't know I had it. I was going through the freezer to see what we had. See if I needed to go to the store. And
I almost laughed when you sent it to me. I was like, yeah, that's fine. That sounds great.
sounds good to me. Hey, I've got the latest, greatest diet.
Yeah.
We didn't rent a car in San Diego.
You just
We
walked. Yeah?
And so you have to walk to the public transportation.
Mhm.
And you have to walk home from the public transportation.
Yeah.
And the hotel was on a little bit of a hill. But we literally walked almost all of every day.
Mhm.
Just unbelievable amount of walking. But we were eating big breakfast. We found a really good donut shop.
Mhm.
Really good. But pancakes and donuts and
Yeah.
whatever you want. And then in the afternoon, maybe we'd have ice cream and then have a big dinner.
Mhm.
So I got home and I thought, this is probably pretty bad.
But you walked so much.
I walked so much, I lost 4 pounds.
Wow. I think that's what San Francisco is probably going to end up being because it's a decent walk. Carol said it's a 30-minute walk from her house to the BART station, which she said we could use the bikes, but that was when there were 2 of us. I haven't asked her yet if there's 3 bikes. And it's going to be cold. You still have the size sticker on your shirt.
I do.
Yeah.
Is that what she said, a 30-minute walk?
Yeah, she said it's about a 10-minute bike ride or a 30-minute walk.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
I see, I just missed all of stuff on
Yeah, I didn't notice at first. But also, we were like, this is cold. I don't know how much we're going to want to bike. Walking doesn't actually sound that bad. Getting up in the morning and starting our day with a little walk.
Oh, I think that'll be nice.
Yeah.
You know what'll be bad? At night.
Yeah.
When you're tired
And we just want to go home.
and it's late and
Yeah.
you just want to be home. And it's like, oh God, a 30.
When we get to the bar station, we call Carol. We're like, help. We don't want to. She seems pretty excited though. I mean, when I asked her about Miranda, she was like, the more the merrier.
Well, she copied me on that, or you did. And I thought that was a very nice response from her. The more the merrier.
Yeah.
And, I think it will be fun. I was telling Grandma, I have very nice childhood memories of visiting my grandmother in Wellsville, Kansas. And she had a little tiny house. She and her bachelor son lived there together. And it was a tiny little thing. And so we would often visit her there. Mother and Carol and I went back every other year for several years. And that was very crowded to add the 3 of us. But there was this one year when, I don't know what the circumstances were, but my cousins from Tennessee came up and somebody else was there. There were like 8 or 9 people in the house. And I remember that as being so much fun.
Yeah.
With all the people around, and everybody was just falling over
Yeah.
everybody else. It was super crowded. You know, bathrooms and where are we sleeping and all of that, and where are we going to eat? The
Yeah.
little table wasn't big enough, and we had a blast.
Yeah, I don't
So-
think it's Jakaria, is that her name? Her granddaughter?
Sakori.
Sakori.
Sakori is gonna be there the first night,
Yeah.
but not the
No,
whole time.
no, I think it's Janisha. The older
Janisha,
one.
yeah, that's what I meant. That's what I meant. Is gonna be there the whole time, or the first
Just
night.
the first night.
Yeah, but then the 3 of us are gonna sleep in the guest room still, and she said there's a bed, a couch, and then someone will sleep on the floor. So it's still gonna be that, piling in.
Yeah.
We thought about making our first day there our shopping day, because we're going to take a day and just go shopping. And I was like, we should probably wait until Sunday so that we have a bedroom to pile our stuff in when we get back, so we don't have to just pile everything in the living room.
She has a small place.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not big.
With a lot of furniture in it.
I think your plan of kind of kicking back that first afternoon.
Yeah.
Oh, you were talking about the first full day there?
We are going to go shopping the first full day, but that first
Well, I
afternoon
think
we played a lot.
I
Because
think
we're gonna
Janisha will be gone.
Yeah, we're gonna go into the city to see that show that night. So we were like, we could go on a little early and do shopping, but we decided not to. I think we thought about even getting there and maybe going grocery shopping so we can pack some lunches and save a little bit of money, and then maybe seeing if Carol wants to get lunch or something before we go into the city for the show. It should be fun. I'm excited.
Well, we and your dad are all excited about you meeting Carol.
Mm-hmm.
Because she's unique. I think you guys will get along. I mean, I think the worst would be that you like each other.
Yeah.
But the best would be that you guys really bond. Because
Yeah.
she's pretty far out. She's pretty far out.
I think it'll be fun.
And she's done some amazing things. She's an activist that really has put her money where her mouth is. So she's the kind of activist that's laid down in the middle of the street and chained herself to fire plugs.
Yeah.
Gotten arrested and.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I mean she.
And boy, I tell you, she was not, I didn't think the kind of person who would ever do anything like that. She
Well,
was always,
they say
she was always working on some cause, but
Yeah.
I never thought she would get into it that much.
They say that women often get more radical as they get older and men get more conservative. And I think that's certainly true in my sister's case because she, as a kid growing up and as a high school student, she was very conservative. I mean, I don't know that politically because I don't know that she thought about it, but she certainly wasn't an activist. She was just trying to go to school and do a good job and have a good time.
Yeah.
And then when she married Orrin, which I think they got married, they were like juniors in college or something. It was before they had graduated. Orrin has always been and is a nerd, but he's politically pretty liberal, and so they started going that direction. But it wasn't really until her kids were at least well established in school that she started really getting
she started
active. I wouldn't say necessarily I guess radical, but active. So she would go on demonstrations and
She
stuff
became
like that.
more active when her marriage started falling apart.
Yeah, and then she got into the
She
Cuba
became her own
thing,
person.
and Cuba is still a big issue with her. She, my opinion is that she's kind of over the top enthusiastic about Cuba,
Yeah.
and
when you
doesn't
brag about
doesn't see.
Castro hugging you, there's
She
that's
has
just
been,
a little bit too
she
much.
has been hugged by Fidel Castro. So I don't think she sees some of the, I don't think she's very realistic about Cuba. But she's got a very interesting perspective on Cuba because she's been there a lot. And so she's actually lived it,
Yeah.
And She knows stuff that we don't know.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And then she's very kooky, you know. She raises chickens in her backyard.
Does she really?
Yeah.
Does she have other animals?
She's got a dog.
She's a dog, okay. Cool. Because Miranda is severely allergic to cats.
Medium-sized dog.
So, well,
Yeah.
we all love dogs, so that'll be fine.
Carol used to have cats, but her last and favorite cat died about 3 years ago or something like that. So the house shouldn't have much cat hair residue in it, and she's got
Miranda
this
will
dog.
be so excited there's a dog too. She loves dogs.
Yeah, this is Molly. Molly's a nice little dog.
She got, this is part of her radicalism too, I guess. It's a rescue dog that came from
I don't know that it's a
Vietnam?
rescue dog. It's a Taiwanese mountain dog. That's the brand. That's the brand. The
breed.
Breed. That's the word I'm looking for.
I thought it was also a rescue dog. And she had it flown over here.
Oh my gosh.
Uh,
I have this professor. I took one of his classes last semester. He's head of marketing for the theater department. He's new this year. He and his partner spend their weekend. They like have a plane, and they spend their weekends flying, like transporting rescue animals in their plane.
oh,
Wow.
Like that's their just like side job is they just casually
To place them in homes.
in
or
homes.
something?
I think, yeah.
You can't place rescue animals in the localities where they're.
You can. I don't really know the specifics of it. I mean, I think some of it might be just specific. I don't know what it is.
Well, there are
honestly.
there are
Maybe it's
websites
an
that
excuse
you can
to
go
fly
to
their
to
plane.
find a particular kind of dog. And
Yeah.
you know, some of them are rescue dogs.
Mhm.
And this is how Carol found this dog.
Mhm.
And you know, they aren't necessarily the dog you want doesn't necessarily live in the area
Right.
where you live.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be. But Taiwan's getting a little
Yeah.
bit far out.
It's just funny how casually they'll just like post pictures on Facebook of like them with a dog in their plane. Like, what life are you living? You just work in marketing during the week and then you fly around the country with animals on the weekend.
Oh dear. So, how are you doing with the play?
It's going really well. It's going to be really good. It's very mentally exhausting because it's such a like hard subject and it's about mental illness and it's about like a lot of stuff that just like I leave rehearsal just very mentally exhausted every day. So it's just like I don't think I'm any busier than I usually am. I just have a lot less brain space for all the things that I need to do. And I get home from rehearsal and the last thing I want to do is homework. So I go to bed and then I have class at 10 on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And I've been getting up at like 8:30 to do my homework so that because I just don't have the energy to do it the night before. Mm-hmm. So I've been getting up really late and then kind of staying up really late. And then I'm working Tuesdays and Thursdays, which is exhausting. So it's like good. Like I love the show. It's going to be great. I'm having such a good time working on it. And I'm learning so much. It's just very exhausting.
Your dad says you're working with the understudies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have been.
What an opportunity for them.
Yeah, Sunday's our last day. Tomorrow's our last day, but yeah, it's been nice. I
never thought about understudies. That's got to be a tough thing.
It's been
To
fun.
be prepared and yet know that if there's good luck, you'll never get to set foot on the
In many
stage.
situations, you never even performed the part.
Right. Yeah, we've had fun. It's been cool. I had to end understudy rehearsal early on Thursday because I had some crazy allergic reaction all day on Thursday to I'm not really sure what. I woke up and about an hour after I woke up I hadn't eaten anything. My face was broken out in hives. And then but I didn't feel bad. My face was just broken out in hives. I drove down to Indy because I had a dentist appointment. And they like kind of started to go away, and by like 2:30 they were gone. And then right before I went to rehearsal, I started to get really like shaky and like just that like when you have a really bad allergic reaction, that like gross feeling. I don't know how to explain it really. And I was like itchy all over, and I ended up having it. I don't know what I was fine the next day. I took some Benadryl and went to bed, and I was fine the next day. I have no idea. The only thing I can pin it on, and I just really don't think this is it, is like right before I went to bed the night before, I had a bite of pineapple. I literally had like a bite of pineapple. and then went to bed. And that's all I had eaten since like 6 p.m. that night. And it doesn't, I mean, I would have had the reaction overnight, first of all, if that's what it was. And like, the thing is, I don't eat pineapple that often, so if I developed an allergy, it would be understandable that I might not know about it, because I just don't eat it that often, but it just doesn't make sense.
No.
So I don't know what it was.
Yeah.
It wasn't fun, but...
And a one-day thing.
Yeah.
Speaking of the play, I haven't bought the tickets yet, but we should do that, and then we'll all know.
Yeah.
We said we were going to go sometime between February 29th and March 3rd. So you might look at your calendar, Norma. We'll pick a date, clear it with you, and I'll go online and buy the tickets. I'm buying you a ticket too, right? Yeah.
I only get one free ticket, and I'm going opening night, so...
Yeah, that's fine.
And then, because Mom told me to let me know what night you guys were going, and she said that she would come whatever other night it was, because I want to see it twice, so...
Oh.
So between what dates?
March, why do I keep saying that? February 29th and March 3rd.
So that's like Monday through like Thursday.
Any of those days are fine.
Okay, let me go get mine. I think they're fine with me too.
Can you go out to dinner first?
I should be able to.
So do you want to pick the date based on your schedule?
Honestly, any of those days should work fine for me. Maybe earlier in the week is better, just because I leave that Saturday. I leave for San Francisco, so if I had evenings free to, get ready for that. So maybe like Tuesday.
So that's Monday,
Yeah.
Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, right?
Yeah.
You're not working on Tuesday?
I work during the day.
Oh,
Yeah.
so you want to go to Scotty's for dinner?
Yeah, I'm totally blank. So we don't care. We're retired. We don't have any.
Okay.
So what night do you want to go?
Let's do Tuesday.
Tuesday,
Okay.
the 1st.
The 1st.
Okay.
Oh,
I won't do it
excuse
right
me.
now, but remind me to go online. Yeah, the understudy thing is interesting. I mean, you don't, as a playgoer, you don't even think about understudies. If you do, usually you think, I hope there's not an understudy in the play tonight.
Yeah. It's fun because there's like...
How does a person hype themselves up to be an understudy?
They have to. I mean, it's out of
Well,
necessity.
what are your guys' attitudes?
I mean, I'm sure they were bummed that they're understudies, but now that they're in it, they're trying to do the best that they can.
They are.
Yeah. And it's interesting because there's 8 parts and there's 4 understudies. So everybody's understudying 2 people.
And they really have to be prepared for 2 people, huh?
Yeah.
Wow. Is it twice as much work, or do they just give each part half as much effort?
No, I mean, it's twice as much work, but you're also not on your feet doing it every night, so it's like, it's still twice as much work, I'd say.
And maybe more stress. What a thankless job. And usually the understudies don't get direction. This is unusual for you to be giving them direction?
They sit in on every rehearsal, so whatever direction whoever's playing the part is getting, they should be following.
But they kind of don't have to.
Well, they do. I mean, if they have to do that part, they need to do it like that person who was doing it before. So what I've been able to do is, talk to them. I mean, especially because this play is so deep and has so much to it, what I realized working with them is they just haven't had an opportunity to talk through the play and figure out what the hell is going on and why does this character do this and what does this mean, and so we spent a whole rehearsal just sitting and talking.
But isn't that done on the main level and they're supposed to be observing?
I mean, it is, but what they're hearing is questions answered that the actor they're understudying is asking. They could have a completely different set of questions about they're not the same person.
Yeah. Yeah, I see.
And figuring out how they're approaching the character and how the actor playing the character is approaching it and how those two can blend together so that they're not just completely repeating it, but they're still being true to what's happening in the show that's being directed.
Do you think, especially in a play like this that's deep and complicated and so on, that if an understudy had to play one of the main parts, would that change the play?
I mean,
Or is it your
it
your
shouldn't.
goal to have it not?
It shouldn't. I mean, it would be a little different, but it shouldn't change the overall like message. It shouldn't change like the takeaway from the play. They might say one line a little bit differently, so I guess yes, it could be a little bit different.
But a playgoer who saw the major actor, whatever you call him, or the understudy, would come away with the same comments about the play. Yeah, they should.
They should.
In other situations where they haven't had the experience of working with you, for instance, how do they mentally put themselves in the place of that character so that they can play it the same way? I mean,
the thing is, they usually have like an understudy rehearsal. We are just lucky enough to have a week of understudy rehearsals.
Oh, I see.
They usually have, I mean, they sit in on rehearsals. You know, they're sitting watching every rehearsal, everything that's happening.
Well, you can't have an understudy rehearsal when there are only 4 understudies and 8 parts.
Understudy rehearsals are tough because we ask the regular actors to come and help out with understudy rehearsals, but they almost never do because it's not technically required.
So you just have to wing it. I guess it works if the 2 parts that the person is understudying are not on the stage at the same time.
And that happens a lot. There's also, though, like
Yeah.
one actor, almost every scene he's in, he is 2 people on stage. So what we're doing is having the other male understudy read the lines off stage. But like that's not the same as having somebody in the space. So, you know, it's not going to be perfect, but we're doing what we can. That's the best we can do.
You know, I think one of the what's that Wizard of Oz thing that you know, the stage play that you and Lori saw a couple of times? I saw it once. What was it called?
Wicked?
Wicked.
Yeah, Wicked. I was trying to think of it too.
Yeah. I think the one I saw,
There was an understudy for
Glenda was an understudy.
Yeah.
And she was great.
And she was great.
Yep.
Especially, I mean, on big shows like that, they're fine. They're prepared. They could step in and nobody should know the difference. Because they have way more rehearsal than we do in a little university show, you know?
They probably have more understudies too. Maybe not one for every part, but not probably.
Well, and a lot of the time in big shows.
Yeah, but she was really good, and with the singing and everything.
And a lot of the time in big shows like that, when there's like a big chorus, like the person playing a smaller part is understudying a larger part.
Yeah.
So like I saw a production of Wicked where the girl who's playing Nessa, Elfie's sister in the wheelchair, was Glinda's understudy. And then Nessa had an understudy. So and Nessa's understudy was in the chorus. So it was a part that wasn't really, that could be done without. So really what they would have to do is if Glinda was out, they just shifted everybody up. And that happens a lot, understudying from within the cast rather than having a completely separate person.
That would be, for a big production that's a big money maker, that would actually be a behind the scenes but very important part of the show.
Yeah.
And especially if you're doing like, you know, hundreds or thousands of performances and you're traveling, people are going to get sick all the time.
Well, and with big shows like that where there's a bunch of shows in a row, understudies aren't necessarily, if somebody gets sick, they have to step in. Like, typically, they will have, like, even the leading actors will have a performance off every couple weeks, just like a day off, where their understudy steps in, and it's, like, scheduled. And so the understudies aren't so much like, you might have to go on. Like, they usually know when they're going to have to go on, and they're pretty prepared for it. And it's not like a big, like, emergency, let's put an understudy in.
Which gives the lead character a day off, which keeps the understudy sharp. It's like Hector Sanchez always used to catch for Tim Lincecum.
Yeah.
So once every 5 days, he knew he was going to start a ball game.
Yeah.
It's not that Buster was sick or something. Buster got a day off, Hector got to start. Yep.
Do you like garlic bread,
There's-
Emily?
Yeah.
Okay.
The coffee's ready. Oh, you're getting it. You probably should pour that first cup over the sink.
Okay.
If you pour real slowly, you don't spill, but boy, it's hard not to.
I don't have any problem now that I just put cups of water in instead of trying to squeeze out an extra one.
Oh, well, I still squeeze out an extra one and pour carefully.
I just realized I have a hole in my sock.
Well, don't wear those socks when you have to go through security at the airport or everybody will laugh at you.
I know.
Oh, right in the toe, huh?
Yeah.
You know, they have this thing called TSA pre-check now. I don't know if you've flown since that's been in effect, but it's sort of like winning the lottery, but every so often you get a pre-check symbol on your ticket.
Mm-hmm.
And what it means is that you don't have to take your laptop out of its case. You don't have to put your liquids in the 1 quart container and take those out. You don't have to take off your belt. You don't have to take off your shoes. You don't have to take off a light jacket. Basically, unless you're really carrying something unusual, all you have to do is empty your pockets and go through the machine. And it's really neat.
What's the purpose of that? To just make things go faster?
Yeah.
Because most of us aren't terrorists.
I'm sure there's some racial profiling that goes on there.
Oh yeah, there's dogs sniffing in luggage and...
Well, I don't know if there's racial profiling. I don't know if there's profiling at all. Because the fact that it's random, still would keep everybody on their toes, right?
Yeah.
So, but it sure is nice.
I had a new experience. Some of the therapy I was doing for my legs, I had to use a weight. There's a strap around my ankle. And I didn't even think about it. It was in my suitcase. And they pulled my bag aside and really gave me the once-over visually and said, "Is this your bag?" And I said, "Yeah." And they said, "Well, we're going to open it." And he really went through that bag. I said, "Oh God, I know what you found. I know what you're looking for. Is the weights that I use for my therapy." And he still just, wasn't sure about this.
Yeah.
But that's what he found. But it's a very different feeling to be
Did
suspect.
you tell him you knew what it was?
Yeah, well, he was looking, and I thought, oh, crap, I know what it is.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, it doesn't do you no good at that point
Right, they're still gonna
to
look.
tell them that you know what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, once they take your bag aside, you might as well just shut up and let them go through your
He
stuff.
said, "Don't touch this bag."
Yeah, because nothing you can say is going to deter them at that point.
Yeah.
The only way to avoid that is to not have had that stuff in your bag. I mean, that's happened to me. I've been traveling on business and had, a special part, a circuit board or something in there, or some kind of a special tool. And if you get pulled aside, I mean, if you're innocent, just let them go through your stuff. And they'll go, "Oh, this is a circuit board. That's what we saw."
Yeah.
It just happens.
I think we're all gonna check a bag and take a carry-on. So I think
Checking a bag costs you $25.
I know, Hallie's Aunt's gonna pay for all of us to check a bag.
Jeez.
Speaking of which,
We love this woman.
can I grab some luggage while I'm here?
Yeah.
I mentioned a
I
couple
thought you
months
had
ago
a
that I might need
suitcase.
to borrow some.
I thought we already gave you a suitcase.
I have a little suit. I have a carry-on.
Oh.
I don't have a suitcase.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, maybe you don't want to do this, but you could take like the largest suitcase allowed and 2 of you pack in it. And then between the 3 of you, that would save $25.
Yeah, we thought about it. We were like, we're definitely going to do shopping, and so like, there's no
Yeah,
way that
yeah,
we're
it's-
going to fill it with a week's worth of stuff when we pack it first. There's no way we're going to fill a suitcase and a carry-on. So we're just going to pack really lightly and have plenty of room.
Well, there's
that.
an old axiom about going on vacation, you know. Take half as many clothes and twice as much money.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and if you shop when you first get there, then you wear the stuff you bought.
That's what we said. We're gonna pack enough stuff that on the off chance we don't find anything shopping, we still have clothes.
Yeah.
But
Minimal.
Not over
Grandma
that.
and I on this vacation, we were 2 weeks in San Diego. You know, we kept wearing the same stuff day after day. Nobody cares.
No.
Who cares?
I got to the
I
point.
mean, in our case, nobody was even there to see us. You know, on a date.
If we had
Now
stayed-
Carol will see you guys,
right.
and she may say, "You're wearing that again." But actually, I've traveled with Carol. No, not traveled with her, but we spent several days with Carol at Don and Mary Lou's, or was it Bud's place or
This
whatever?
was in Colorado.
No, I don't know. There was some occasion. Anyway, Carol was there, and I noticed that she wore the same shirt like 5 days in a row. Who cares?
We're trying to look pretty cute and take a lot of pictures, though. We're going to do, because Hallie needs new headshots, so I'm going to take my camera out and we're going to do her headshots out there.
With the bridge in the background
Right.
or something. Yeah.
And I think that's a little too cheesy.
Oh, I don't know.
They're really weird about headshots on professional jobs. Like if you go for a Chicago audition, they want you to have a headshot taken by a Chicago photographer.
Oh, for
And
God's
like,
sake.
so like, putting stuff in there like that is like not good. You know?
Well, what do you want to have in the background? Like a park or...
I'm going to take my camera and take a lot of pictures, and if there's a day that there's like a cool background and good lighting, I'll be like, alright, let's take some pictures and see what happens.
Do you know how to find that spot behind or outside the Golden Gate Bridge?
Not exactly. We haven't decided what we're going to do yet, though, because we thought about, originally we were going to bike across the Golden Gate, but then we realized it's probably going to be too cold.
It very well could be. And windy.
Yeah, and that means, that's a hassle. We were already kind of hesitant about it because we were like, that means we have to take the bikes into the city, and then that's not going to be our whole day, so then what do we do with the bikes for the rest of the day? So we, I don't know what we're going to do about seeing the Golden Gate. We're going out to Alcatraz, so we'll see the Bay Bridge.
Well,
and the Golden Gate.
you could,
from the boat,
depending upon the weather, you could walk part way out and get the effect, and then just turn around and walk back.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it's a major commitment to walk. Of course, you can walk all the way across it, but
Yeah.
that's a major commitment. And then
When
walking
is it
back.
you're leaving?
But
March 5th.
Okay, well, the temperatures are staying in the mid to high 60s and 70s.
Yeah. I think it'll be nice to be there, but to bike, I think it would be cold.
well,
With
and
the
the
wind off the
bridge.
bay and
Listen, the
everything.
bridge can be totally different
Yeah.
than that. If there's fog coming in, the atmosphere can be 20 degrees colder and windy as hell and very uncomfortable. You remember that day we were taking some tourists around? We went across the Golden Gate Bridge and we stopped there where they have the section of the cable, and it was miserable. We couldn't wait to get back in the car quickly enough. And then we drove across the bridge up into Napa County, and it was marvelous.
Okay, I'll believe you.
You don't remember it. But
In any place, it's just when you get close to the water, it gets different.
well, especially the Golden Gate, because
Yeah.
it's a big
It
funnel.
didn't in San Diego.
Really?
Emily, that is the most perfect climate.
Really?
Oh my God.
It was for us.
Beautiful. We ate dinner on the sidewalk every night.
Huh.
And
Yeah, I'm really hoping there's a night. I told them I would love if there's a night that's going to be warm enough to find like a restaurant where we can eat outside, where there's like a view of the bay, like a nice view,
You're 39.
Yeah. We're going to, I want so badly to take a night tour of Alcatraz, and Hallie's just such a scaredy cat, and it's more expensive, so I can't like bully her into it, Because if
What's she afraid of?
she's just
Ghosts?
like, that would be creepy. Like, I don't know, I just think it'd be so cool, and she's like, I don't know, I think I'd get spooked out, I think that'd be creepy. She just doesn't want to do it.
So Miranda's afraid to fly. Allie's afraid of ghosts.
The thing is, she's fine with going out to Alcatraz during the day, and the night tour is at like 6 p.m. So it's going to be like dark by the time we leave Alcatraz. You know what I mean? Like, it's going to just slowly get dark while we're there.
Yeah.
But I think that would be so fun.
Yeah, I think so too.
And I've done
you see the lights,
Alcatraz.
and you get to see the lights in the city from the distance.
Yeah. And I've done Alcatraz before, so, like, why not do it differently?
Yeah.
And then we're going to do the Harvey Milk tour for sure. That's what Hallie really wants to do. I really want to do Thursday nights. They have like an 18+ night at the Exploratorium. That's the one thing that I like really want to do.
What do they charge for that?
I think it was like $24.
Oh,
It won't be-
I thought
it won't
was
be
more
cheap.
than that to go to the Exploratorium.
The Exploratorium's at Pier 39.
Yeah, when they move, they really raise the rates.
So what that means is, because I want to do the Exploratorium so badly and it's at Pier 39, I'll probably give in and say, all right, let's do Alcatraz during the day, and because it doesn't make sense for us to go back and forth.
Yeah, with 3 of you, you will have to compromise.
Mm-hmm.
So what else do you want to see?
I don't know. The nice thing is that Miranda's never been to San Francisco, so she's kind of just on the lines of like, whatever you guys want to do sounds great, because she's never been, so she wants to do just whatever. And Hallie and I both have specific things that we like individually really want to do. Like, I really want to do the Exploratorium. She really wants to do the Harvey Milk thing.
Hey, what's Harvey Milk Tour? I don't know.
It's a tour. It's a walking tour of the LGBTQ history of
Must
the
be
area.
Castro District.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yep. We don't know what day we're gonna wait until like a week out to book that, just so that we know weather pretty well.
Hey,
and things like that.
do you want to get in touch with Fidel? Or do
Sure.
you want us to get in touch with Fidel for you?
Sure.
Well, I'll just give her the information and she can tell you whatever you know, if he's got any time. He works 2 jobs.
Yeah.
But somehow he gets off for baseball.
Yeah.
I'll just tell you how you
Well,
can do it.
he might not be interested in getting together with you guys because, you know, Fidel's 50 years old. But on the other hand,
He is connected to that city like...
boy, does he know the city. Oh. I don't know that he ever leaves.
You know, I asked him
'Cause
something
we've
about something just south of the city.
Yeah, he
and
doesn't know.
When he drew a blank, he had no idea what I was talking about.
Yeah. I don't know that he ever leaves.
Well,
but,
he goes down south to see his dad.
yeah. And we've asked him if they have a car, and he says he and Eric have an old Honda or something, right? Some kind of an old beater. But I don't think they get out of the city. But anything in the city,
He knows.
I mean, he's incredible. We were walking down the street with it one day, and he says, "Oh, there used to be a really good restaurant here." Used to be.
Yeah. I mean, thinking about it, like if we want to do our shopping day on Sunday, and then Hallie's thing is on Monday, that means we really have Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday for all 3 of us to do stuff together. And one of those days is going to be Pier 39, Exploratorium, Alcatraz. One of those days is at least a decent amount of it is going to be the Harvey Milk tour, and so we'll have the evening. We'll be able to figure out what we want to do in the evening that day. But you know, that really only leaves us 2 more days to figure out which.
Do you want to do the typical tourist things?
I don't know. There's some things that we want to do.
You just want
Like, you know,
spend time by the ocean.
like Lombard Street,
We don't have a car, so no.
but you could see it.
Yeah, I mean, we might make a
I
point
wonder
to
how
see
close
stuff.
you can get on Muni. I mean, obviously you can't go down Lombard
No.
Street,
Yeah.
but have you ever noticed any
I've never
Muni
seen Muni around there.
tracks out there? But Muni must go up Van Ness, and Van Ness is all. I mean, Lombard is just off Van Ness.
Thing is, you'd have to see it from the bottom, and then you'd have to walk up some way to get back to.
Well, but these kids are in their 20s;
Yeah.
they could walk up and down in 2 minutes.
Hallie really wants to spend time at the beach one day, and I'm like, it's gonna be freaking cold. It's gonna be too cold to go to the beach.
Yeah.
And I told her,
Could
I
be.
said, I'm fine with going to the beach, but can we not plan on staying? Like, I would be fine with going to the beach, standing there for a minute, being like, cool, beach, and then leaving.
Well, the way to do it, you know, is Geary Street runs all the way across the peninsula, so you can like take. Well, you guys will be taking Caltrain.
But they're not limited by that. They can get on Muni from Caltrain.
Well, what I was thinking is taking BART to the Powell Street station. But anyway,
Can we not take Bart?
Well, from Carol's place, when she's talking about the 30-minute walk, she's talking to the Caltrain station. And once you take Caltrain, then you can connect to BART several places.
We're not, like, I think public transit's going to be pretty easy because we've learned from our time in Chicago that Google Maps is amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, like, they know, like, Google Maps knows the public transit, and you can say where you're going, and it'll figure out all your connections and where you're
Well,
going.
what we found on this trip, and I've used this in San Francisco too, is the best combination is kind of an overlay for Google Maps. And in San Diego, it was called San Diego 511. In San Francisco, it's called 511 Transit. But just look for 511 something.
Yeah.
And then what you do is you load that. That will ask you where do you want to go from, which is usually where I am now. Yeah. To wherever. And it gives you the numbers of the buses or trains or trolleys or whatever it is, how to walk to the station, then where it goes, and how to walk from the station to where you want to get.
Yeah.
But it then overlays that on Google Maps. So you look at it and you say, oh, well, here's where we walk to get to the station, and it shows you the streets and the directions and stuff. So that's the way to do it. 511 Transit.
Put it on your phone while you got Grandpa to walk you through it one time.
Yeah, I mean, I think I understand how to do it. It's the same as using Google Maps. It just
I think I've already taken the San Diego off. But there's transit for the Chicago area, which works the same. This is the one for San Francisco, and they all use Google Maps.
Cool, easy enough. Yeah.
Yeah, and
we've become pretty good at figuring out public transit. I mean, Chicago public transit and San Francisco are obviously different, but like just the general idea of like figuring out public transit.
Well, do you remember when we were there for your graduation present? I was using that program, and I think it's been updated a number of times.
Yeah.
But I was basically using that. And as you'll recall, we had some glitches.
Yeah.
And we did in San Diego too.
Yeah.
We have on our phones.
But basically it works good. Oh, I have to tell you, in San Diego, we did something just like we did in San Francisco. We got on the right bus and went the wrong direction.
Oh no.
we wanted to go about 6 blocks.
Oh no.
It took us 2 hours to recover. We started out down by the water, the harbor, and we wanted to just go south about 6 or 8 blocks, something like that. We ended up going way out of the way, just like we did in San Francisco. Went all the way to the end of the line.
That's funny.
Had to figure out which way to get back. Then had to wait because they weren't running very frequently. And after 2 hours...
This one that tells you what time the next bus is coming. Next whatever. And this one we used a lot when we were in San Francisco.
Cool.
So we came back to exactly where we'd started and had dinner there and went home.
Yeah.
Yeah, San Diego, I don't know if every place does this, but San Diego had a neat thing too. In addition to this transit thing, you go up to a bus stop. So, you know, your transit program has told you to go to the stop at 6th and Broadway or whatever. But there's the bus stop sign. And at the bottom was a stop number. So you text the stop number to
Chicago
a certain...
has it too, yeah.
And it texts you back real time what the buses are doing. Not the schedule, but like if it's going to be late or early or whatever.
That Chicago has the same thing too.
Maybe San Francisco does too. Very handy.
Yeah, it is. Because a lot of the time those apps that just are like, when's the next bus? Like, it's not real time. It's like, when's the next one scheduled? Like, if they're on a perfect schedule. But it's not.
But it's not. Yeah, and then you don't know, if you're cutting it close, you don't know, were they a little early and we just missed it?
Right.
So now we have 20 minutes to wait? Or,
right.
Yeah.
Do you need any help getting stuff started?
No, thanks. I got it all done. Pretty much.
Yeah, I don't know how people did it in the old days. Have you ever seen a printed bus schedule and tried to figure it out? Oh my God. You know, I could see how if you were commuting every day, you'd figure out which buses to go on. But just as a tourist, it's like a huge spreadsheet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, phones make it so simple. But we got all over San Diego with just the phone and the Google Maps, and I think, you know, probably most major cities, that's how it works these days. I suppose if you were out in the boonies, you'd be in trouble.
Yeah.
But San Francisco certainly ought to have it. LA, Chicago, Milwaukee.
Well, and even if it doesn't, like Google Maps really, I mean, like, it's that same thing where it shows you what the next stop is, where to walk, where the bus is going, how late the bus, like Google Maps will do all of that.
Right.
Yeah, I guess I've never tried Google Maps all
That's
by
what I was
itself,
doing.
so I don't know how much the 511 adds to it.
You can just like type in public transit.
But it's free.
Yeah. May as well.
Google Maps is very helpful for just walking, because Grandma and I, if it was just a short distance or there weren't any bus stops, you know, we would just walk. And one of the main places that we got off was a transit station downtown. But we came at it from different directions, you know.
Yeah.
And I swear, every time I landed there, I got turned around about which way we should walk.
Yeah.
And so I'd use Google Maps.
Just open it and start walking.
The only problem is you got to walk a little ways.
Yeah. Or, I mean, Google Maps sometimes will have enough, like, it'll have like a store listed on it, so you can be like, okay, the store is across the street this way, so I need to go. Yeah.
It gives you your bearings.
Yeah.
Miranda and I were trying to find our way to this theater in Chicago when we went a couple months ago, and there was this weird, like, 6-way intersection. And we needed to go down one of the streets, but we really weren't sure which, and so we were like, all right, let's look at it. That store is there. That's okay. I know that there's a Subway there, and we spent like 5 minutes just trying to map out where we were to figure out which street we needed to walk down.
Yeah, and a lot of times if you pinch out, it starts giving you more and more detail. What an amazing program, you know? Okay, I'm going to take a couple minutes out and try to get the tickets for March 1st.
Okay.